Let's ask ourselves, is it worth taking money on credit, and if so, where to get it, on what terms, and for what purposes? On the one hand, loans impose certain obligations on us, but on the other hand, they open up additional opportunities for us that have fascinated people since time immemorial. Of course, there have always been, are, and probably will be negative examples in which people take money on credit and do not return it, for which they then have to pay. Well, who said that the obligations assumed should not be fulfilled? Thanks to borrowed money, Europeans discovered America. Thanks to loans, great companies are created, such as, for example, Google, and, finally, many of you can afford to buy a house and a car, thanks to a loan. And what is important, today almost every working person can get a loan and use it at their own discretion. In other words, everyone has access to money today, but it is necessary to know how to use this money wisely, so as not to have problems with it, but to enjoy it. Even on the internet today, you can get a quick loan and thus solve your current financial difficulties, or with its help you can launch some interesting project, thanks to which you will also multiply the money you borrowed. In my article entitled Man and Money, I describe the relationship between man and money, including a competent relationship, in which a person does not have any financial problems. You know how many of us treat money, for some they are a deity, and for others ordinary paper, well, or just numbers on a computer. Everything depends on how well you can manage them, because it is on this that the presence or absence of money depends. Money can work wonders, we all know this, thanks to it almost any problems are solved, but it also creates these problems, by its presence or absence. You just need to be able to tame money in order to control it and be the master of it, and not obey it. This is a well-known truth. For this, you need financial literacy, which you can learn today on your own, including on this site. So if you want to take out a loan to buy something or do something, just think in advance about how you will use this loan. Calculate all the risks, evaluate all the pros and cons, and when you have thought everything through properly, take out a loan. It is not difficult to do this. Many banks are ready to lend you a certain amount of money, you just need to choose the best one. Today, you can even take out a loan without a certificate and start using it right away. Of course, the more risks a credit institution takes on when giving you a loan, the higher the interest rate on that loan will be. Risk costs money. But if you know exactly what you need the money for, you can easily cope with this interest, or at least it will not bother you too much. You need to be able to calculate your strength and be aware of your needs, then, having money, you will not lose it too quickly and too ineptly. I have taught people many times how to manage their money, many times explained to them how to do it correctly, thereby destroying their idea of their own financial capabilities. You know how it happens, people sometimes think that they have too little money, while in reality, they have more than enough money. You just need to know how to spend it. I provided assistance mainly to my acquaintances, because I have never worked as a financial advisor, but now I provide this service online to anyone who wants it, so keep that in mind. For now I am providing it, then we will see. But in my article called Money and Taxes, I already talk about taxes and the problems they create for us. Read it, it will probably be useful for you. But, let's get back to loans. After all, this phenomenon has always been treated and is treated differently. Some scold loans, considering them a real evil, others do good, using all the opportunities provided by borrowed money. Well, people have always treated everything like this. Those who know how to use various things are happy with them, those who do not know how, scold them. I think that a bad dancer always has balls. So although it is necessary to pay attention to the other side of the coin, I consider it wrong and even primitive to judge loans only from the negative side. Yes, I myself often scolded those who take money on credit and talked about the unprofitability of credit. But that was an appeal to those people who do not understand anything about money, to whom no matter how much money you give, they will spend everything and then look for the guilty on the side. Everything should be kept away from a stupid person, especially money. We have the same situation with weapons, and with the internet, and thousands of other things and phenomena that can be useful in the hands of a smart person and harmful in the hands of a fool. It is quite obvious that a loan in the hands of a fool will rather bring him grief than joy, but at the same time the money itself, borrowed at interest, you will agree, has nothing to do with it. Actually, if we refer only to fools, then everything should be banned. We should ban cars, because fools do not follow traffic rules, alcohol, because fools drink it in excess, and when they get drunk like pigs, they start to riot. Also, we must definitely ban the internet, because fools do nothing but visit adult sites and other nonsense, from which their last brains go sideways. Let's close everything, ban everything, go into the forest and live there like cavemen, gathering and hunting. Casinos and slot machines have already been closed, and now they want to introduce a filter on the internet, and there you can refuse loans. Why stop? Let's limit ourselves in everything. But there will be no fewer fools from all these restrictive measures, and they will still find where to smash their foreheads. So why should normal, sane people suffer because of them? In life, everything is very fragile, everything can change at any moment, and it is not about what can happen, but about how prepared you are for it. In my article called Your Money, I talk about how what belongs to you today can suddenly become someone else's. Read this article, I assure you, it will teach you a lot. So, taking into account the above, we should once again pay attention to the relativity of harm and benefit from loans, which are good for some, but bad for others. And even this situation can change at any moment. Let's say a banker issues loans, and seems to feel good living on interest, but what will happen to him and his bank if people stop repaying these loans? Obviously, nothing good. It can lead to the complete bankruptcy of the bank, and how will the banker feel in this case? You must admit, he will not be good anymore. Today we are offered simply gorgeous conditions. We can get a quick cash loan and use it as we wish, as our heart desires. We can afford almost everything thanks to a loan. We can buy things that our fathers and grandfathers could not even dream of in their time. So what, is that bad? But how do people respond, taking advantage of these opportunities? They, as you can see, sometimes consider it necessary for themselves not to repay loans, just as they do not repay money borrowed from their friends and relatives. So what should we do with such people? Probably, they should be punished for this. Think about it yourself. If you lend money to a person, and he does not repay it, will you like it? But for some reason, we scold banks and bankers, considering their usury a sin, but say absolutely nothing about those who take and do not repay loans. Why do we approach this issue so one-sidedly? Why do we condemn only some people, bankers, completely ignoring others? And after this, we still talk about justice? This is somehow not good. How often can you see, no, not supply, but demand for a cash loan quickly and without intermediaries, when a person is ready to do anything, if only to immediately get money? Why does he so passionately want to take a loan and does not consider this money somehow wrong? Why does he not scold greedy bankers for multiplying money made out of thin air? He needs money, he urgently needs money. That's the thing, it turns out. It does not matter what he needs it for, but he needs it. And he goes for it to those people who can give it to him. And such people exist, they damn well exist, and they lend this damn money. They do not refuse, but they demand that this person fulfill certain obligations, without which it is unprofitable for these people to lend him money. Is there any crime in all this? Is anyone forcibly put on the credit needle? The bank gives a person a loan without guarantors and thereby takes a huge risk, because who knows what kind of incompetent person might come for this very loan, who will not return it later. I am sure that you would not lend money to every second person, even at a high interest rate, because people are so fickle in their behavior that they may not return your money to you. Read my article, which is called How People Make Money, and you will learn how we manage to live at each other's expense, and then talk about some kind of truth and justice. No, friends, I think that you need to be objective in everything. If you do not want to be considered a camel tomorrow, try not to be a pig yourself today. Many people whom I know well have created very successful businesses on borrowed money, which now provide them with a pretty sweet life. None of them ever considered loans to be evil, because in fact there is no evil in money given at interest. There are only people who can do evil deeds. Including, by taking ill-considered loans, people can do evil to themselves. Here, it seems that consumer credit is considered the most common loan and at the same time the stupidest, since people buy all sorts of junk with borrowed money. But again, why buy junk? Why not buy something you need and thus improve the quality of your life? Well, I know people who bought a washing machine on credit, someone took a computer on credit, someone bought a new phone, someone a TV. People use these things, they bring them joy and even help someone earn money. For example, if we are talking about a computer, so what kind of stupidity can we talk about in this case? Well, yes, if you do not know how to save money and do not know how to earn it for the things you need, then, perhaps, we can say that you are not very wise in the matter of money and that consumer credit is the only way for you to get at least something. In this case, learn to earn money, learn to save it, so that you can spend it on whatever you want. Credit has nothing to do with it. Credit is needed by those who do not know how to do all this. Those who do not know how to save money, increase it, and those who do not know how to earn it in large quantities, need credit, otherwise they will have nothing at all in their lives. But imagine how profitable it is to take a car loan for, say, a nascent business, when personal transport is necessary like air. After all, a car is not a phone or a TV, you can't just buy it for a month's salary, and saving up for it for a couple of years is not profitable in our time. It is not profitable because money depreciates too quickly. Inflation and general financial instability, specially provoked by financial tycoons, make such an activity as saving money unprofitable. And therefore, saving up for a car is not easy, and at the same time impossible if you need a car urgently. Of course, you should have some money reserves, since it is unknown when and for what purposes you may need an emergency cash reserve, a safety cushion. But saving money in itself is an extremely risky business today. We have already experienced the depreciation of the national currency more than once, and everyone remembers how cynically we were deprived of all our savings. Therefore, when buying a car on credit, provided that you use it effectively and not just to show off in front of your friends and girls, you are acting wisely. No one will offer you anything else today. If we talk about a mortgage loan, then it's not so simple. On the one hand, a person needs his own house, his own apartment, of course. Without a roof over his head, I can't even imagine how it's possible to start a family, how it's possible to have children. Without housing, you will always be on edge, because you will have to run from one rented apartment to another, pay exorbitant rent, adhere to certain rules set by the landlords, and so on. To hell with such a life. We are not ignorant peasants who can be scattered like dogs in barracks and communal apartments so that they breed there in inhuman conditions like rabbits. No, either more or less normal housing, or to hell with family and children, to hell with a humiliating and disgusting life. Therefore, if you have no other options for acquiring housing, a mortgage is probably your only chance to get a roof over your head. However, for me personally, such an option would be unacceptable. Being in debt to the bank for 30 years is no better than being homeless. But if you are planning to start a family and put down roots, then this is the only opportunity for you to live like a human being, in your own apartment or house. I would also like to tell you about online credit, which not many people know about these days, but which is very convenient for quickly borrowing money. On the internet, you can borrow money very quickly, without even leaving your home, although in many cases, you will be charged a fairly high percentage, but you will not have to go to the bank. In this case, the money will be transferred to you directly to your bank card and you will be able to start using it at your own discretion. You know what to do with money, don't you? Many people say that they know how and what they should spend money on, although I doubt it, but nevertheless, I believe that people have the right to think so. Making your dream come true, no matter what it is, and no matter how other people treat it, is a great thing, and if you need money for this, you have the opportunity to get it. Just try to act wisely, do not indulge exclusively in romantic dreams, but try to make cold calculations at the same time. And remember that money is never enough, no matter how hard you try to get it, you will always lack it. But if you are a sensible person, you will easily get by with the amounts available to you and will be able to wisely manage the money you borrow, which I hope will allow you to realize all your dreams. Never scold what you do not know how to handle. Do not be fools living within the strictly limited framework of their mental abilities. Always try to look at everything more broadly and think more deeply. Borrowing money, as well as lending it, has always been the norm in any society, and demonizing usurers is characteristic only of those people who are always to blame for all their troubles. If you do not want to deal with debts, do not have them. No one forces you to do this. Other people will simply take advantage of the opportunities available today instead of you, that's all. In order to take out a loan wisely, you need to compare all the offers that exist today, familiarize yourself with the conditions under which you are ready to receive a loan and, by choosing the best and most advantageous offer for you, make every effort to get the amount of money you need. Remember that favorable loans are readily issued to those who show their seriousness and responsibility by their appearance alone. I am not even talking about your credit history. If you have a good one, many banks and credit organizations will want to cooperate with you. Be decent people yourself and decent people will want to cooperate with you. And the more decent the bank, the less interest it will rip off you, which, as I understand it, should be important for you. Unfortunately, nowadays, there are too many scammers who try to deceive banks in every possible way and do not return the money they borrowed, which is why banks lose trust in all people. So you have to prove not only your solvency, but also your integrity when applying for a loan, because you can't tell much about a person by their eyes alone. Well, what did we expect? Because if the laws against all sorts of scoundrels and bastards are not strict enough, then they will continue to interfere with normal people's lives, because they don't understand anything except a stick. Read my article called Dirty Money. In it, I describe our attitude to this or that money and explain what it is based on. Well, and finishing this article about money on credit, I want to tell you once again that if used skillfully, credit can be a great help to you in life. The whole world will be at your feet if you have enough money in your wallet or in your bank account, using which you will make all your desires come true. Our life will pass very quickly, before you have time to blink, as everything that attracted you yesterday, today you do not need at all. Well, why then deny yourself the pleasure of, as they say, living? Why constantly squeeze, denying yourself joy and happiness? The only thing you should not forget is that our desires have no end, no edge, so try not to be like the greedy old woman from the fairy tale about the fisherman and the fish, otherwise you will be left with nothing. Credits are good for everyone if you use them wisely, and bad for everyone if you don't. All other points of view on this issue are wrong, because they come from people who do not understand its essence. Do not listen to those who blame anyone and anything for everything, but not themselves. Such people see evil in everything, including such opportunities without which it is difficult to imagine the modern world and without which our life would be less joyful and interesting.